Datatec is a global ICT solutions and services group with revenues of over $5.4 billion, more than 6,000 employees worldwide, and operations in over 50 countries. The group operates as Westcon, Logicalis, and Mason Analysis. Datatec has a market cap of 11.6 billion rand, price to earnings ratio of 17.6, currently pays no dividends. Jens Montanen is still at the helm of this company, Paul.
Very much still at the helm, and these days principally London-based. So when you look at the results announcements that come out, you see all of their 0944 numbers at the beginning. That's because that's where they're based. The operations that you point out, significantly Westcon, which as you know is this kind of global box dropper, to use your pejorative term. They are 50% of their revenues come from selling Cisco kit. And we know what's happened with Cisco. It was sky high 10 years ago. It kind of fell to the ground. It's picked itself up. It has good quarters and then not such good quarters. The other part of the business, Logicalis, is more involved with IT consulting, with value added stuff.
So this is where the value add comes, solutions to the box dropping element, and of course
Absolutely.
That's at a higher margin business than the inherent product pushing.
Because the solutions, of course, are many and varied and highly, highly valuable to the companies. So they may be things like workflow management. Whenever a new client comes into a new environment, what happens to the client capture process, what happens to their documentation. Network security and network installations inside of big corporates. I mean, this is just bread and butter stuff. Desktop PCs, then it's migrated into things like cloud computing.
You know, we use this terminology because obviously I used to be investor relations at Dimension Data.
Exactly.
And the mystery, the margin is in the mystery.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
It means that the more solutions and services and value added that you provide the client, the higher your margin on that business. And the clients sometimes don't follow
so you're saying the more complex it is and the more buzzwords you have in there, the better it's going to go in terms of the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Having said that, I'm afraid it's a very competitive world out there, as you know. So I don't know what it is.
So there's no more mystery.
I mean, we were discussing it in the office in preparation for this. You know that some big companies will afford and tolerate a higher margin from the company that sells them tea and coffee and cleaning liquids than it will from their IT solution provider. So for some reason, that's a contract that gets massive pushback, enormous haggling over the terms and the margins as a contract.
I think what happened is that the dot-com bubble bursting demystified the environment and you couldn't get away with anything.
And really, people just saw it as a cost line item that they wanted to aggressively attack. And they employed people who knew the technology to push back and to fight.
Having said that, Datatec is trading near all-time highs.
Exactly. So down here in the 2008-2009 drawdown, it hits about sort of 13 or 14 rand. Prior to that, it had done quite well. And then back in the dot-com bubble you're talking about, it was down to sort of 10 rand a share. So you can definitely see a sequential and steady improvement. It's at 60
Can it maintain that now? Can it go beyond 60?
Well, you know, I've been a bit skeptical. We haven't really been in these stocks. The sector leader, Data got taken out and delisted off our market by NTT Docomo. But I think Datatec is a real contender in the global markets. It's operative in all four corners of the world. It's in the US, it's in the European market, it's in Latin America, it's down here in Africa, of course. So
it's got a big market cap, 6,000 employees. This is certainly an IT company to be reckoned with.
So I think the challenges for them going forward, though, are margins. You saw that number, $5 billion worth of turnover. It's quite tricky to work out what their real profits were, but there was somewhere in the region of about $50 million. That's 1% net gross in the end, after tax, after everything, profits. So you can see it's not exactly
compressed margins in this scenario.
And in the commentary that we've seen from the company, they've talked about, the things look better, but it definitely is a little bit one step forward, one step back. They'll have a good quarter in Europe and then a disappointing quarter in Europe. And we've seen the same thing from Cisco and from all the global hardware solution providers.
If you believe the world is going to recover, then this is one to back, hot or not, Paul, on Datatec.
Look, I'm pretty much sold on the IT investment story. We know that sometimes the money gets made by people that are new entrants. So we see Google doing very well because of all its solutions. We see Amazon doing very well. You see Apple, for example, just swoosh in and capture a massive chunk of the hardware market where nobody saw that coming.
So you're excited about the IT arena. Does that translate into excitement about Datatec itself from an investment perspective?
Look, I've been rather grumpy about them, and look at this, going from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60. So I think it's finally time to say, as you say, if there's going to be lots of corporate spending, then these are guys that are going to benefit, so we can say this one is hot.
Are you sorry for being grumpy about it previously?
Well, I suppose on the whole, one must say, if it's going up and you're not in it, then you've got to be sorry.
Or
So
you're
I
grumpy
guess-
because you aren't in it?